Sparky Coach Pod, round two, because the Zoom gods hacked the mainframe last week and ruined what would have been an awesome chat with Jaiden from Rewired. But hey, we're on round two and ready to go. So how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, boys. Thanks for having me again. Like you say, round two. Let's see if we can do it, if not better.
Now I know you're a bit of a diehard Bulldogs fan.
Yeah, I
Is,
am.
is that from childhood?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, from my father.
Yeah, and who's your favorite Bulldogs player of all time?
I reckon probably Hazem El Masri.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
he's
I thought you
underrated.
might, I thought you might have said Sonny Bill.
Oh, he's close second for
Yeah.
sure.
Second.
I remember watching Bulldogs Sharks one really windy day at Shark Park,
Yep,
and El Masri, I don't know what his percentage goal kicking was, but it was
crazy.
hot. Like it
Yep.
was quite high. And I remember him kicking this one, literally like it felt like 30 meters wide, and the southerly blew it in.
It's
That's how
crazy. Yeah,
tapped in this guy was. He was so tapped. It's crazy. And he could score some points too.
yeah, he could, man. Yeah, for sure.
And how are you guys going this year? Like, do you live and die by NRL or other sports you follow?
Yeah, I'm big V8 supercars and NRL, so I love both of them. Yeah.
And anyone following the supercars, who's your driver
So I'm a
team?
Red Bull fan. I've been a Red Bull member for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
We always get an apartment every year with the boys on the hairpin there on Gold Coast 500. So we always have a bit of a do there every year with the boys, which is great. So yeah, we really enjoy that.
Nice. And who's the driver? Does Red Bull have a driver?
Yeah, so
or-
Will Brown and Brock Feeney this year, but unfortunately they're going to Ford next year, so I'm not doing that. I'll have to
And-
find a new one to back.
What manufacturer are they with at the moment?
Red Bull, Holden.
Holden, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Chevy,
like
sorry.
General Motors, whatever
Yeah,
it's called.
General Motors. Yep, correct.
Is that who WinCup used to be with?
Yes, correct. So he's still there. He's like the GM there pretty much.
Okay.
Mm.
And did I see on Insta you had a round with him one day? Did you like get a drive?
Yeah,
Did you-
yeah. So I've been with so my favourite ever driver was SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen. I've been for a round with been for a lap with him before.
How was that?
Oh
Did
man,
you,
insane.
Did you love it?
Oh, I frothed it. I'm a big fanboy with that sort of shit.
Oh, how fast are they going?
Oh man, it's crazy. Like going around corners like over 200 k's an hour is just insane. It's epic though.
Amazing. And if I put you in the hot seat, how would you go?
Man, not to toot my own horn, but I wouldn't do terrible.
So good. Did you did you rip any burnouts like back in the day? Like
Oh, I've got a very high powered vehicle at the moment that I do love doing it in. Yes.
what are you driving for the rev heads out there?
It's a weekend car. It's a monthly car, I guess. It's a Camaro.
Oh, I
2018
think that's
Camaro.
like a fully lowered high ace with like
Yeah, no,
30
I wish.
Yeah.
Motorbike in the back.
With
Yeah.
ladder on the roof.
Yeah.
That's it.
6-foot single side shackles. Single side ladders, how bad are they? Are they the
Yeah,
worst?
shocking. No, very dangerous. Get rid of them.
Absolutely. Okay. So obviously wanted to get you on for a while. We're huge fans of you. Saying this last week, but I bought in. You know, you got AJ, Diesel, Cookie, yourself. I love what you guys are doing in the social media space, and it just feels like you would be doing that no matter what industry you're in. I think you've got quite a talent, and love the crew. Seems like such a great culture, and I think I've seen you guys having beers at South Stradbroke, just around places,
Yeah.
photos and things.
Yeah,
But
correct.
talk to us a bit about what day-to-day Rewired looks like at the moment. Give me a team size. You're about to have an admin start and a couple of new tradies start and bits and pieces. So what's a bit of what's the company look like at the moment?
Yeah, cool. So as it stands here today, there is 6 of us. So including myself, there's 3 tradies and three apprentices. Admin, like you just mentioned, starts next week. A new tradie starts next week as well. And then once everything is all nutted out there, we'll be employing a new apprentice as well. So things are ramping up pretty crazily here, but it's just all part of the fun, right?
And seems pretty organic growth. You're not doing a lot of
correct.
advertising.
Yeah, so no real advertising. Have recently just started advertising for the domestic side of things to get back into it. Seeing those commercials being taken over 90% of our workload. Just trying to even it up a little bit more to have 50-50.
Yeah, cool. And talk us through when did you get a factory? Like what size is the factory and when did you get?
Funny you say that. I've been in this factory for the last 3 years. This is about 110 squares. Been trying to get another factory for probably the last 3 or 4 months, trying to get money over the line. You know, it's trying to get money out for commercial property is very hard. Actually found one, probably keep this off, but found one this morning that I looked at. I'm going to put an offer in this afternoon. So yeah, which will be good.
Oh, sick! Congrats.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Well done.
Cheers.
That's amazing. Now, okay, so talk to us about. I saw your social media post that cried out for. I think what did you start with? Holy, all right.
Yeah, literally. Oh, yeah. I had so many takes with it. I think I had about 50 takes trying to take that video, and I was getting so frustrated with it. I was spinning around on the chair in the office, and I just couldn't pull it off. But yeah, pulled it off in the end.
Well, I mean, it looked natural, but so what did So how important has that social media world been for you in terms of finding people? Like, did you have people hit up from that? Obviously, lots of apprentices.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Admin too. Did you advertise on Seek as well or anything, or just
Yeah, so I've advertised on Seek before, and it was a complete fail. I don't know. Some people get lucky, some people don't, I guess, and it's pretty expensive to do. You know what I mean? So why not go organic first? See how you go with it. And that post went crazy. I think it had like over 200 shares, and it's still getting shared to this day. I actually have to archive it because I'm still getting messages about it. But yeah.
Oh, so good. And then how did you go about starting the social thing? Because, obviously people, if I just logged on to Rewired now, it's, doing a whole bunch of stuff every single day. Where did it start for you? Like, how did it go about? Just like picking up the
post on social. Yeah, it was pretty much day one. I said to myself, it's this day and age. We got to pretty much start posting on social media if we want a successful business. You know what I mean? It's another form of marketing and whatnot, free marketing tool. So every job I was doing, I was taking photos, uploading them. Even though I was just replacing a PowerPoint for USB PowerPoint, I was just doing it, uploading photos, making it look cool, putting some music behind it, and just slowly growing it as we went.
Yeah, and like how cringy were your first few vids?
Oh,
for
shocking.
You? I mean, not for you personally, not in terms of.
Yeah, even just looking back on them, like aircon cleaning videos, and like I said, replacing PowerPoints for USB PowerPoints. It's just like the content has come a long way. Put it that way.
Oh, it's so good. And what is the like, obviously you get followed by like lots of electricians, and I think you're a bit of a goal to people because I think it looks like you guys are having fun, and I think that one of the most underrated things about social media is that if lots of people are going to move to the Gold Coast, great area, right? Would you say?
Yes. Oh, I love it. Best place to be.
Yeah, so good. And then your business becomes an attraction for them to be like, oh, I might work there because they know who you are. They see the culture, see the crew. They're probably already familiar with you, with Cookie, with AJ, with Diesel, with the crew. It's so cool. Like, have you seen? Do you get noticed in the street and the boys in the street and stuff like that?
Yeah, like without tooting my own horn or anything, I've had a couple of times people coming up, oh, you're Rewired, or I've seen your stuff before. I really like it, which is pretty cool. It's a good feeling. It's obviously not why I do it, but I just like building the industry up like you guys do. You know what I mean? So, well, I'm so passionate as you guys are, and yeah, just enjoy it so much.
Did you have a natural interest in it beforehand, or did you sort of look at it to be like, hey, look, this is the social media side of things? Did you have a look at it to be like, oh no, this is another arm, I'll just figure it out as I go?
I definitely never knew it was going to grow to where it is today. Obviously, it's everyone's dream to have so many thousand followers, you know what I mean? Especially in the same industry. But yeah, no, I still be happy with 500 followers if that was the reason, you know what I mean? So, yeah, no, definitely no intention, but here we are today, and I'll take it for sure.
I think that's it, isn't it? You treat the 100 like you would the thousands. I think that's really important.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's cool. So talk us through. I'd love to talk about what made you start the business and what did make you start the business.
Yeah, sure. Always just doing cash. I loved it. Obviously, I love my job. Love the electrical industry. Was always doing cashies. My boys hopefully don't get any ideas because I don't like it.
Or I had to put a line in the sand with that. I just said no.
Yeah.
It's cool when you're like at a certain size.
Yep.
But obviously going around and picking it up from everyone and having people like completely handling it gets really messy.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was this is neither here nor there, but I remember one day getting a call. I went to site at one of our best client sites, and I turn up, and then and there was like strange rumblings, like, Crow, you're on thin ice here. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh, what did we do? And then it turns out, I got to the bottom of it. One of the project managers was like, yeah, he didn't, like, my internet's been out ever since you guys came. And I'm like, oh, I don't actually have a record of that job. Like, are you sure? And it
Mm.
turns out one of my staff went there on a Saturday, couldn't find the issue, basically cooked his internet, internet not working, and it had been out for like 2 or 3 weeks. His wife was complaining. He was telling like the whole site that Crowley's guys did this, and I'm like, I didn't even bill for that. That wasn't even
Mm.
me. This guy did a cashier on the side of my own clients. So
Wow.
that was interesting. I had to basically pull the guys in and be like, hey guys, anyone you meet through us is sort of ours. And if
100%.
you need to do, there's no option for you to work for them under any circumstances, because like it or not, it affects our brand. So
Exactly right. And there's no need for contact either outside of the job. When the job's complete, all contact goes back to you, the owner of the company. And yeah, I'm very big on that too, and also got contracts set in place for that reason.
yeah, 100%. Okay, now starting the business. So yeah, you just felt to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, so
Busted
I
it.
was doing cashies on the weekends and I was getting too busy, and I ended up working for a company where pretty much what was promised didn't happen. Promised the world, nothing ever happened from it. So I thought, I'd just finished building my house too, so it was the worst possible time. And I just said to mum and dad, I said, I need to borrow some money. I need to get out of my own, I need to start my business. I need to do it now or never. And so I thought, bugger it, let's just do it. So yeah, here we are, 7 years later.
If you don't mind me asking, what was promised, was that a money
No, it
promise?
wasn't money. It was actually work. So it was an aircon company.
Yeah.
They employed me apparently they got electrical contracts doing new homes and stuff like that. They signed me up. They were the qualified business person of the company. I was a qualified technical person, so they were using my license. And I probably did 2 or 3 homes where there was meant to be multiple more. And then in between that, I was just running ducted aircon systems, and it just wasn't for me. Didn't enjoy it.
Ducted aircon system's not for everyone.
Especially retrofits.
You know those times you put your arm in the ceiling and it's just like dripping with sweat before you even get in? It's like,
Yeah.
wild times. And then going about starting your own business, I guess specifically in the finding workspace, how did you go about it? Obviously, you were doing some work on the side, and now you can book that in Monday to Friday, which is a lot easier
Yeah,
on
correct.
everyone's time. But how did you go about your first few clients? Who were your first few clients, and how did you go about growing that database?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of my work came from word of mouth. Very sociable person when I was younger, still am to this day. Just which comes down to networking, I guess, what I call networking these days. But obviously, you still had a big friend group in school, and just word of mouth come from there. And most of my clients from day dot, I still do work for today, which is really cool as well.
That's really cool. And then, coming into your top, I mean, I always like to ask people this, but your top 3 clients today, you don't have to name them, but
Yeah, sure.
how did you meet them?
Swinging back through to networking pretty much. It comes down to it's not what you know, it's who you know majority of the time. Unfortunately for some people, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's not what you know, who you know, and just building relationships over the years and finally paying off. Obviously, they're still friends as well, some of them, but now friends through business as well.
Yeah, cool. And what was there any time you had to sort of, if you had to ask for that at any point? Have
Ask
you
for the
seen?
work?
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
never ask for the work. No, I will never. I'll never cut anyone's grass. I'll never, you know what I mean? I will never go into someone and say, oh, if you're not happy with them, get us to do it. I will always be approached. And I'm a very approachable person for that reason. I will never go in and, unless there's a very, very big need for it for some reason.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And what how do you, obviously looking at your Insta, you guys do a huge variety of work, from the Automasters to the gyms, to changing ceiling fans in Hope Island. Am I talking at Gold Coast
Yeah,
Lane?
correct. Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah,
Here at the
yeah.
Goldie,
So,
yeah.
like,
Hope
what
Island's our biggest
about
area, for sure.
how important do you think that diversification is, like, for for your to
You
train
need
and
it.
stuff?
You can't be narrowed down to one little part. I don't think. Commercial or industrial or commercial and residential. I don't think you can just stick to one, because if one is slow, then you can have the other to fall back on, which is a really good thing to have.
Yeah, and then so outside of that, Jaden, well, not outside of it, within it, sort of thing, the type of work that you're touching on there, like a bit of a diversification. Obviously, there's a bit of project work involved in it, and then a bit of service and maintenance associated with it. And you sort of tend to dabble mainly in the resi and commercial spaces, and a little bit of like light sort of. But obviously, the coast doesn't have heaps and heaps of industrial sort of work, so there's a bit of a lot. What are you sort of what's your split there with your project service work nowadays? And then what was it at the beginning? Because I think that's an interesting point as well, which we'll dive into in a second.
Yeah, of course. So, resi was 100%
Yep.
for, say, the first 4 to 5 years.
Yep.
Last couple of years, or probably last 3 years, slowly getting into commercial, which is pretty cool. Then that probably ended up being 20, 25% commercial, still resi
Yep.
at 70, 75%. And then probably in the last 18 months, I've probably been 90, 95% commercial. And that's where I've just gone, all right, we need to go back to where we were a little bit, go to our grassroots and come back into the resi side of things, keep our existing clients happy, and build that back up as well. Because like I said, you'd always need that something to fall back on if you ever have, not that I ever dream or ever think about losing a big commercial client, but you never know what's around the corner. So having that back up there with all the resi work is, yeah, definitely needed.
Yeah, diversification is so huge, and I think it comes with time on ground. As you know, like everyone starts doing the same sort of small stuff for friends or family. What's your thoughts on friends and family work? It gets a bit of a hard rap depending on what circle you're in, but
Yeah,
like,
of course. I don't mind doing work for friends and family as well, but I definitely couldn't work with them, put it that way.
yeah,
But
yeah,
working for them, yeah, it's okay. But obviously, you don't want to charge them as much as what you charge Betty for. So if you're looking for profit and you're looking for bigger turnover, I'd be sticking away from the families, helping out as much as you can, but obviously not just having all your eggs in one basket with family and friends only.
yeah, 100% there. Now coming back to, I know, obviously seeing you guys operate in at those gyms, that's I think when you're operating in that large commercial sense and you've got that sort of commercial or resi background, it's a different speed, a different skill set. It's its own entity. I feel like if someone's coming to rough in and they're capable of roughing in, it can take half the time as someone who's sort of learning their ropes and bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Now, flashing back to, I think it was either your apprenticeship or when you just sort of were subcontracting or employee for a bit after your apprenticeship, doing heaps of houses. Talk us through that work, what kind of stuff you were doing, and how critical that was for what you're doing right now.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we were doing heaps of spec homes, heaps of project homes. That was actually where I met not where I met Cookie. Cookie ended up being my apprentice. We were friends for years before. Cookie was my apprentice. He got me the job there as soon as I was pretty much qualified, which was pretty cool. And we were just house bashing. So we were doing a rough in and underground at least a day. But yeah, like you say, the speed you pick up from that sort of work, you need to work fast. If you don't work fast, you're going to lose that contract real quick. So yeah, implementing that into the commercial side of things is a big plus. From a business owner's point of view, it's really good. Like I said, I've got Cookie running the gyms now. So, the speed that Cookie goes, no one can keep up with, which I don't expect them to, but, I really want them to learn and follow in his footsteps as well. Obviously me being the exact same as Cookie, but me not being on the tools as much, unfortunately. So
Yeah, it's when your apprentices can look and see what an excellent person is doing and look and think that's normal. There's
yep.
no training like that because
Yeah.
I just think they rise to the standards of what they see. So it just goes to show there's no place for average people in the company. So talk us through. Okay, so you're moving with Rewired. You're sort of quite personable. I think you would be answering the phone at all hours at the start. Like
Yeah,
you probably
correct.
still do because you're quite a social person.
Sure.
But talk us through the first hire. It was Cookie, to my knowledge.
No, actually, it wasn't Cookie. I've had two tradies beforehand.
Yeah.
Won't say any names, but they've both gone out to go do their own thing now. So they were with me for probably a couple of years each in as tradesmen, and then they both started to go out and do their own thing now. So yeah.
And was that a bit of a proud moment for you when
Yeah,
they?
it sort of is a good feeling. It feels like you've helped them get to where they are to be able to take that leap. But also at the same time, both those guys are really loyal to me. So yeah, it does go a long way for sure.
And still help each other out,
Yeah,
lady-wise?
correct. We both still help each other out. We still call each other all the time. And yeah, vice versa, help each other out both ways.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so approaching Cookie for you and just having that conversation, he was like a bit of a reluctant sort
Yeah.
of
So yeah, so Cookie, like I said, Cookie was a mate of mine from early high school. Then I started working with him when I became a qualified tradesman, doing all the project homes and stuff together. And we always said, oh, we wish we could work together. Even his mum's like, oh, I really wish Cookie could work with you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, I'm not getting friends involved with family. I'm not going to do it. And it come to like 3 years ago, I think, just before Christmas. Cookie rang me and said, what have I got to do, bro? He said, I'm done. I want to come over. And I was like, let's just make it work. Let's just make it happen. And we've done really well with it. And yeah, we still get along really well, just as good as we were before, if not better.
And you don't have to like touch on this in completely in depth, but the coming over, I'm assuming, was as much about culture or even more about culture as about money. Is that?
Of course, 100%.
Yeah.
It goes both ways for him and for I.
Yeah, and how, I mean, it seems like you guys have got a pretty good vibe. Like, how important is culture to you?
Culture's massive within a company. You've got to have everybody on the same page, if not within the same chapter, because, yeah, you can't have two people on two different chapters because, unfortunately, the company culture ain't going to work.
What do you think there, Jaiden, with like when you say the culture, like what's important to you? Like obviously there's, you know, we've all worked with different people, but what are the sort of like, is it they have to you know, similar like-minded interests?
Yeah, there's no
like
particular rules or yeah, you don't have to follow the same sport as us or anything like that. But I just feel everybody's got to at least be able to get along.
If you go,
If you follow the doggies, hey, you're signed up, no trial needed.
If you ever study Bill Williams' Shrine in your garage, you're not for us.
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, we interrupted. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So, what was I saying? What did I just say then?
They don't feel on the same like.
Yeah. So, yeah. You don't have to follow the same sport, or you don't have to like the same sort of music as each other. But as everybody's just got to be on the same page. You got to be able to get along with everybody around you, and that's a massive start. And you can work everything out from there.
Have you experienced people not being in the same chapter?
Yeah, 100%. And
how did that
like 6 weeks?
Lasted 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Sweet. Did you notice? Was it within the team or was it within like even clients as well?
This particular person, yeah, I'd heard a couple times from clients, and then especially just from the team, they just weren't happy. They didn't want to be here. They were pissed off. It just brought everybody down, and yeah, it just doesn't work, unfortunately. I don't know, other companies, other business owners might say different, but this is just how I've built my company and the culture that we have. That's how we've gotten to where we are today with half the culture.
I would touch on that for a sec, right? Because I think a lot of people that aren't strong in the relationship area naturally, they might find out. We did a really good podcast on this a few back, just if anyone's listening here, on the true cost of keeping average staff. It was a huge, like, that usually they'll cross over into your dinner table to your partner in a negative way. Your staff start talking, your clients start talking. It'll eventually cost you long-term relationships with staff, with clients, and maybe a loss of your headspace too.
And family too. Yeah.
And family, put a lot of pressure on everyone for no particular reason. So I want to highlight first and foremost the 6 weeks. You're recognizing that pretty early. I'd highlight that to you're quite relational and chatting to everyone a lot. How do you go about because when you've got your finger off the pulse, like on site, you're off the tools a little bit more, which sounds sometimes more glamorous than it is, a bit more management style. Like, do you directly ask the guys how's that person, what's happening, how are you
always
finding?
getting feedback from the boys, whether we're trialing someone or we got someone new within the company. If I don't have a finger on the pulse with that particular person, I'm getting feedback from the boys left, right, and center. Just to keep an eye on things. And I've built a relationship with my team where we're also honest with each other. Well, I like to think so anyway. Obviously, they still have things that they don't talk to me about, and they talk within themselves. But I feel we've got a pretty open company, and 95% of the time we speak what we think to each other.
Did you find out with that, like, on non-ideal hire, we'll call it that. Did you find out like immediately, or did you suss it out immediately, or
I
did
had
you
that.
sort of
I had that bad vibe thought from the start.
even like prior to hire?
Nah, not prior to hire, but just first couple of days. Yeah,
okay.
I didn't trial, which is against my rules from the
Lesson
start.
learned.
Yeah, exactly right. And then just bad vibes from the start, and yeah, lesson learnt. Always do trials, and I always have done ever since. I was just a bit desperate, to be honest. I needed a tradesman, and they're so hard to find.
Yeah, all standards go out the window when you're really busy. I find. I mean, it's sorry, not all standards, but it's hard to maintain a really. But I think you have to. So how do you stay busy and keep your finger on the pulse?
Management. It comes down to management and organisation skills, and how you handle things. You know what I mean? The way you handle things within your company is a reflection of your company, and how you can run it, and how smooth or how not smooth it goes, for sure.
Now, we were saying in the last week's chat that got deleted by the Zoom gods, we were talking about, you put an ad up, obviously, on Insta, and you had a bunch of tradies. You said you got two starting next week, is that right?
One tradie starting next week in admin.
And yeah, cool.
Yeah.
You said you unfortunately missed one because you were late getting back to them. Talk us through that, because that's huge for some people. I guess what would Jaiden now say to Jaiden himself like a month ago?
Weeks ago.
yeah, like last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's huge, right? Sometimes you spend so much time trying to find someone, and if you don't make that one decision or that one phone call, would you even make a phone call just saying, "Hey, feeling pretty good. Just give me a couple of days." Would you make that extra? Like,
and that's pretty much what I did. I don't think I would change so much in the way I act, the way I reacted to the whole situation, but trial this person for 3 to 4 days, come into Easter. Oh, excuse me. The Coke's getting to me.
It's Red Bull.
Chicken burger for lunch. Watch out.
Yeah, literally. It's all coming back up. So starting from trialing the person for 3 to 4 days, coming into a long weekend, I said to him, mate, I'm going to be trialing someone else. I didn't trial anyone in the meantime because it was between the Easter and all the public holidays and Anzac Day. And I didn't even have a time to think. I wanted to shut down for Easter for the 4 days and have time to think. And then it got to 3 or 4 days later. But there was only 2 business days in between or something like that.
Yeah.
And I called him up and I said, "Hey, mate, love to have you on board." And he's just like, "Sorry, man, ship sailed. I've already got another job and I'm out." And I don't like rushing things. So I can't give you a job then there straight after trial. I've got to think about it. I've got to speak to the team, get some feedback about when I wasn't there as well, and see what they think as well. Will they fit in? Will he or she fit in? And and it was going to work, but unfortunately that ship had sailed and there wasn't really much I could do about it.
And on the trial, are you looking just to put them on the gyms so, someone gets a good feel for them across like a 3 to 5 day realm? Or are you looking to put them, say, on more of the service side? I think the hardest thing with a trial sometimes, talking from a numbers point of view, the service side's usually built for one. So having someone coming out additional to it, you can be losing money on pretty quickly, especially 2 tradies.
Yeah, for sure.
Not all the time, but sometimes. Whereas a project, you can get there and probably achieve a very similar amount of work that you would have otherwise. What are you looking for in a trial? Like to send them to one job or multiple jobs or multiple people? What do you like to do?
So ideally, in a perfect world, I'd like to just swing them between resi and commercial. As we all know, things never go to plan and things don't line up properly, but I'd like to do a bit of both. I always say to whoever I'm trialing, minimum 3 days. Obviously, some of them are employed, some of them aren't employed, so it's hard to get the time off from their existing employer. But I'd like to spread it out, but sometimes it just doesn't work like that. In saying that, like you say, sometimes service base is only one person. I would happily lose 3 days worth of labor to be able to see if this person that's potentially going to be with me for the next 5 years. I'll pick that money up over the next 12 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, over the next 3 months. Probably.
Yeah, exactly. That's right, for sure.
What do you look to trial them for, like time period wise?
About 3 days.
Yeah, so 3 days to a week sort of thing is what
Correct.
you're after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
cool.
sure. Minimum 3 days, definitely.
And then you just try and like what force a doggy's jumper on them.
Yeah, pretty much. I try.
It's a fit. Yeah.
Actually in the contract.
So good. And so I know you've been absolutely inundated with apprentice resumes. I think 80. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 75 to 80. Correct.
75 to 80. So I mean, huge.
In like, wasn't it only less than a week? Wasn't it too?
Yeah, less than a week. Correct.
Yeah, less than a week. Yeah.
I've stopped counting now. They're still coming through to this day, and the phone's still ringing. But yeah, pretty crazy.
What are you looking for in an apprentice?
It's hard to say in an apprentice. I'm just looking for keen. You can't teach keen. I'm looking for someone that is, if you got a good attitude and you're keen, the rest is history. I can teach that. Like I mentioned before, you just can't teach keen. Some people say, yes, they've got to do the pre-voc course, the Cert 2 or whatever they do at TAFE. 2 of my boys that I've employed haven't done that, and they've worked out great. But also at the same time, me looking through resumes, I'm going to look at that and go, yeah, they're keen.
Particularly when there's 75. Like
Exactly right. Yeah, I really don't know how I'm going to nut that out and narrow that down, because that's going to be super hard. It's not going to be anything personal.
Yeah. So when you say
But if you live in this suburb, no.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
that stuff does matter, right?
Yeah,
Like,
100%. 100%.
suburbs matter as you're going to tie in with where you work. You can't drive too far to work every day.
No.
But when you say you can't teach keen, like what stands out? What is keen to you?
Keen is rocking up 15, 20 minutes early to work. Just being on the ball, asking, what can I do next? Where can I be? What can I do? Like, and just actually asking questions about what we're doing. There's no dumb question. Just show your interest with what we're doing, for sure. And run.
Yeah. Don't walk.
I used to have a tradie. He used to just emphasize move with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, and that's how he used to define it. He's like, you can look busy without being busy.
100%.
Is what he used to say. So like, obviously, he's like, as a tradie, you could be tied up with a builder, for example, or with the client somewhere. And the apprentice might not have anything to do, for example, but he would always emphasize that you just got to move with purpose. He's like, you could move the ladder from one room to another room to another room, but no, it's the purpose around it. So you're actually moving with the purpose. I think, like, as you said, like, run is your words, not mine. But I'll look to sort of like in that move with purpose. And I think anyone out there who's listening back to it all, if you're an apprentice, it's a big one, moving with purpose. But also to be as a business owner, I think it's a good measuring mark in the scheme of things, that you can move with some sort of purpose, because it's perception. Because that's when the client's seeing that. It's a visual sort of, I guess, representation of what is occurring.
Yeah, move with purpose. That's great. I actually you've nailed that one for sure.
I always like that. I always like the excellence is doing what you do well and doing it with a good attitude. I think as apprentices or tradies, you need both, and I reckon the importance of having like an excellent third or fourth year that they can look up to, or an excellent tradie that they can aspire to, that ability is really important. When you got a really like tire kicking second or third year, it can really affect the people underneath and above in such a negative way. Of your staff, your apprentices at the moment, your 3 apprentices,
correct,
what is a couple of like what's separating them from the pack? Like what are you looking at? You don't have to name names, but what are you looking at and going like, yeah, I love that trait about them, or I love that what they're doing? Yeah,
for sure. So obviously I've had apprentices come up to me and say, I want to be at that level, I should be at that level. Can I start fitting off a switchboard on the next gym, or can I do a switchboard upgrade with you on site? Wanting to expand their own skills within the company and actually wanting to do it, instead of just being told what to do every single day. They're actually thinking ahead and wanting to do more than what they have been doing. That's a big thing for me too, which is great. It stands out.
And is there sort of standards you have? Do you have like end of first year expecting this, end of second year, or are you just sort of like, obviously it's dependent on what sort of training they have and what jobs they go to, but how do you hold that level of expectation as they come through? Each
individual person is different, I feel, because everybody is not the same. I know I can see potential in some people. Oh, I can see potential in all my staff, right? But I know some of them are quick learners and some of them are slow learners. And I'm very patient with that because I was a slow learner when I was an apprentice. So yeah, you shouldn't have to know how to fit off a switchboard by second year. But you should know the ins and outs of how it works. I don't have actually rules set in place for end of second or end of third year. It's just everybody is individual.
What advice do you have for someone that's in that sort of release stage of you're starting to sort of that trader you've had come on board or apprentice come on board that's you're starting to get to do things, but it's not quite as fast as you, not quite as good as you, not quite as thorough as you. Like, what advice do you have for anyone in that sort of realm, starting to hand over things on site?
As long as everybody knows and you know that you are doing your best, I guess. Like I said, everybody is different. Everybody works at a different pace. Everybody does things differently. Everybody, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I'm bad at advice.
Is it hard to watch? Like, did you find that hard when you first got an apprentice on, like letting them do things and?
Oh, 100%. I now know why my old boss used to yell and scream at me, eh? But I've learnt from that reason to have patience and just go that extra mile to actually teach people, you know?
And what did you pick up? Because I mean, most people. I mean, I had an interview with my old boss. I did my apprenticeship with. Just dropped on the pod last week, and there was things I got out of that company that were fantastic, and things that I got. And I was like, when I get a team, I'm never gonna do that. And I think that's the organic trajectory of like running your own business. You get to sort of shape it how you want. What did you leave your apprenticeship or your time after with and go like, I'm never gonna act like that? The yelling and screaming, obviously.
There's obviously lessons learned in every company that I was at, good and bad. When I did my apprenticeship, there was a lot of things that I thought I will never, if and when I ever have my own company, I will not implement things that way, or I will not do things that way. A big thing is coming down to teaching your apprentices and encouraging your apprentices as well. Actually give them a pat on the back or let them know that they're doing well. Because a lot of the time, for the first 4 years or the only 4 years of your apprenticeship is sometimes the hardest times of your life. The amount of times that I nearly gave up and I can never see the light at the end of the tunnel whilst doing my apprenticeship, whilst also being told I was the biggest piece of shit in the world. That makes it hard. So encouragement within the company comes a long way.
Some encouraging words there.
Yeah.
But it's so true. You know what I mean? Like, I was treated like the biggest piece of shit when I was an apprentice, and I think it's shaped me to where I am today because I can handle anything, whatever anyone says, because I've copped it since the start.
Very, very double-edged sword there, hey. So obviously,
100%.
you sort of it's not. So you've taken away that's not the way that you want to do things, or it's not the way that you do things now. But in particular, it's not the way you wanted. It sort of probably drove you a little bit around of like, hey, I can shape it this way. But then equally too, there's probably a few things that you take out of it that you're like, oh well, I'm probably pretty resilient around it. So like, it's a real double-edged sword. But you probably wouldn't wish it on anyone else either.
No,
too,
exactly.
Because I know we touched on it last week that you sort of were at the point of a number of times where you're like, what am I doing with my career as such, not so much life. That's probably a little bit extreme there, sort of thing. It's more like, do I want to be doing this electrical trade sort of thing anymore? Because it can sort of drive you to lose interest in it as well.
Exactly, that's right. And don't get me wrong, I still took a lot of good traits out of that company as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, some probably 50-50 good and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's talk about socials for a sec. Do you ever feel is near enough good enough for you on the posting? Are you just like, yeah,
I've got a standard now, because obviously we do have a fair few followers. Not that we have a heap, but we have a few followers and people in the industry. So we got to be so careful of what we post on our stories, hey, and on our reels and TikTok, and because there's so many people out there criticizing everybody. Just because they're little keyboard warriors, but you got to be careful.
How do you find that? I got called a flog on this morning, so I actually called the guy. I found and his name's pretty obscure, and I just typed in that name electrician.
It took you 30 seconds to find it.
And because I feel like it's important that they put a face to that. You know?
100%.
And I was like, oh, I noticed you said that on Spotify. happy to chat it through. Do you want to talk? And he's like, oh, no, 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 no. Just like hangs up. And I'm like, suck me in. You can't say whatever you want to anyone
And then
and just
not back it up.
yeah. I'm like, but I'm happy to discuss it. I'm not like,
You want the feedback as well. There might be a reason why he's calling you that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You don't
Yeah,
want.
and I was like, I want to know your side of the story, but like,
That's
don't just
right.
keyboard warrior at after 3 beers at 10 o'clock at night.
It's
But
shocking the amount of people keyboard
yeah,
warriors
do you
on
cop
there as
any
well.
criticism?
Yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah, we do cop criticism. Mainly TikTok. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the breed or if it's the age that hangs around on TikTok, but we get them
breed.
bad.
Give us an example. What?
Oh, like people tagging OH&S and stuff like that in all our posts.
No way.
Because
What?
someone might be standing on top of a 3-foot ladder. Yes, depends what site you're on. It might be legal, it might not be. But just little bits and pieces, like just pathetic stuff. Someone just
Does that cause you a bit of like angst, I guess, sort of thing? Like
it
or do
does
you
to
sort
an
of just
extent, but I know the protocols and safety that I have implemented in the company. I know I'm doing everything right, so I don't really have to worry about it.
yeah.
But also the proof is in the pudding. You got to be so careful what you do put on social media. But something so little like that, come on, you can't be getting so cut up about.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? And I guess the whole theory of a lot of things that I guess we're doing, you're doing Insta, so like 40's doing the Spark Your Interest. A lot of the thing is electricians helping electricians. And let's like lift each other up. There's no point sabotaging your brothers, assistants
100%. That's exactly right.
in the trade. Like if you've got to say something to someone, I'm a massive believer, just say it to them. It doesn't have to be on a platform. If you want to call someone out, call them out in like a legit way. So, but how do you handle that? Do you does that
Water
cause
off duck's back most of the time. You can't take that stuff to heart. If you're getting cut up about someone commenting or something on social media, yeah, whatever.
you talking to me?
No.
No, I said,
Sorry, no. But like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, that's different. That's on a podcast. You know what I mean?
no. I mean, I'm saying like
Don't
I
take
had
that
to
the wrong way, Croy. Seriously.
Oh no! I had to have a moment and go like, oh, why do I even care what this guy thinks? Like, no,
No.
I had to challenge myself and be why?
But you
Because
were genuine about. You want to know, like, why was I a flog? What did I do? What's the reason behind it?
maybe
The people tagging up.
Maybe we'll never know. So okay, so you've got a bit of a standard now on like, but is there like, do you have a sort of goal? Is there like, one post a day? Is it 6 stories, or is it just like whatever the day throws at you?
Whatever's going on is going on. I try and post a minimum 3 times a week. I've got a goal of how many followers we want by the end of the year. Obviously, they're pretty big goals, but yeah, we're just trying to build the community, trying to bring it up together, and working with other people in the industry, like you guys say. Don't put down other electricians. Don't bag them. Actually talk to them. Get advice off them. Give them advice. Let's go up together. Raise up together.
Actually, real cool story about that. I'm not going to name any names, but one of someone I know put up like a photo of they were doing something, and I think it was something on a meter panel that shouldn't be. I can't remember exactly what it was. And I got a message from someone else and said, hey, can you let them know you got a good relationship with them? Can you let them know that that's not legal? So I just called him and I said, hey, this got said, someone's post. Because a lot of times people posting on socials is someone from an office that doesn't actually know the rules and regs. So we'd look at something and be like, oh, no, you can't post that. They're looking at it like, oh, great, building site. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, I always look at roughing videos and like, if you don't have a cable roller, you don't know what you're doing. Like 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100. But yeah, that was really interesting. So that's doing it well,
Yeah, exactly. I've had people message us
on
same
the
thing.
feed, but like going around and chatting. But yeah, that's super cool. How did that promo go that you did? I know with what you gave away some stuff. How did that go?
Yeah, so that was actually me, a bit of a last minute thing. We hadn't done a post and we didn't have any content to post. So I hit up Ryan Veach. I don't know if you guys know him from C&W. He's an absolute legend. He is trying to build the Sparky community up, especially for contractors as well.
C&W, where is he?
C&W, he's in the head office. He's high up at C&W, but he works out of Murray. So he deals with all, I'm going to say Queensland, possibly even Australia. He's recently moved over here from Perth. He used to run Balcatta over there. massive. He built C&W Balcatta up there from the ground up, and he's done so well with it. I've met him through my local C&W Southport, and we're actually doing some work together now too. And we've been working at his house as well. Really good guy, great guy for the industry as well.
So good. And what did you give away? And
Yeah, sorry. Back touching on that is it was two days out before Easter. I'm like, we need to do something. We haven't done a giveaway in a while. So I hit up Vici, Ryan, and then I hit up a couple other people that weren't so keen. I hit up Luke from 3D Pro that does all the cool custom labels with pack outs and stuff like that, does the packer shelf and stuff. I hit up Trade Shade, short from Trade Shade. That's a really cool thing that he's got going as well. They were all super keen to jump on board, and via C&W, we got Hager and Clipsal on board as well. So, and then obviously Rewired, we chucked in a pack. Sydney Tools voucher. It's actually sitting in here because I couldn't send it to him, but
how much?
200.
So
Might have to
good.
do Tradie of the Month or Apprentice of the Month, I reckon. Hand that one out to the boys.
Oh, that's so cool. And you're happy with how the promo went? Any more plans for promos in the future?
Yeah, always doing promos. Obviously, always trying to keep the industry intact and keep everybody involved. And yeah, I love doing promos and whatnot, and helping out other fellow electricians or other people in our industry. You know what I mean? Bring them up together.
And talking about, I saw you were doing something with a 3D printer for some
Yeah,
what?
actually.
How did that come about? So obviously you're making some mold or a switch that's got to go. It looked like corrugated.
So it was like a fluted wall. I think they call it fluted. Like the real curved walls. And we had a switch and a PowerPoint on there. One of our main builders, they said, what are we going to do here? They wanted to cut it out and sort of recess the switch. And I was like, nah, that's gross. So we 3D designed these. So I don't know if you can see them very well. So that's the fluted that's the back of it. So you can see the curved edges on it.
Yeah.
And then that's your iconic switch on the front. So insert the mechs into it, screw it back to the wall, and it's all flush mounted. 3D printer, they're great.
Talk us through that. That's super cool. How do you go about, for someone that's never used a 3D printer before, how do you go about?
I only know how to press print. So I pay a guy I've met through another business owner mate of mine, is a god on CAD. He comes in here, takes some measurements, or I'll send him some measurements, and he will design it. He'll send me through the file, and I can print it and let him know any adjustments that we have to make, and go from there.
That's so cool. Now,
quickly speaking about 3D printing, do you guys know Tassie Elec? I think he's in Sydney. He did a wall light on the front fence of some crazy paved stones. And he actually brought out a 3D scanner. I'll send you the reel. Brought out a 3D scanner, scanned this whole wall to put a wall light on it, and created a whole base for the light in and out of all this crazy paved stone. It was insane.
That's actually amazing.
Yeah,
Pretty
I'll
cool.
send you through the post when we jump off. It's really cool.
Nice. Now, talking about what's your favorite app? CapCut?
Yeah, CapCut or InstaShot. I use InstaShot a lot just because I've used it ever since the start and I'm pretty all over it. CapCut, I don't know if CapCut's got some sort of system within the algorithm of Instagram and TikTok, but every time I edit a video on CapCut, the engagement is shocking. So it's like, this person's lazy. We're not going to give them all the likes and follows they want.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just a theory I've come across, but every time I use CapCut for that, I just
Engagement's low.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's shots fired at the algorithm.
Yeah,
Right?
I know the algorithm's shocking. Don't get me started on it.
Oh, it's so good. And so coming into that editing stuff, you do all of it yourself, right?
Yeah, correct. I do it all myself. In saying that, some of the project videos from the gyms that we've recently been doing, end of project and start a project, I've been using a good mate of mine who owns a videography company. So he's been doing that, but everything you see on our stories and all our mini reels and mini edits and stuff, that's all done from my phone.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I was really pumped about. Obviously, I've only been on Insta for since November, and your sort of stories and content was standing out to me because I liked it. It felt quite personal. I felt like I wasn't. Sometimes you look at it and it's like Testimonial Tuesday, and everyone's ticking the box of I post 3 times a week, but it didn't have an authentic feel. Or you can tell, the wording when you can tell someone's not in the industry. It's like, I know you don't know what you're talking about when you wrote that, or you wouldn't have posted that if you knew what you were doing.
Yeah,
So
100%.
how important for you is that voice or authenticity being communicated across on socials?
Yeah,
Like
for
how
sure.
important is your handle on that? Yeah.
I've seen a fair few Sparkies that must employ someone from a marketing company that they must sign up and go, right, you sign up with us, you pay us $80 a month, and we're going to do 3 stories per week, and they'll just put up a photo of a switchboard and put some writing over the top of it. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, that's not going to work. You know what I mean?
It's a switchboard photo, and then it's a testimonial,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then
And there's a screwdriver in the switchboard, but it's uninsulated and everything. Like
yeah,
it's straight off Google.
yeah.
Yeah.
Getting
Yeah.
your face involved, getting your voice on your own content, and actually posting the content yourself, coming from the electrician yourself, goes a long way and helps big time for sure.
Who do you look for in the social world for inspo? Like, is there someone you can have like 2,000 followers or 2 million followers, but whose content do you like? Doesn't have to be
I like
doesn't have
so
to be
many. Hey,
electrical specific, but like in general.
I like so many, and I speak to a lot of them as well. I could be all day rattling off names. You know what I mean? Obviously, Willman. You got Dave Willman. His content is cool. And who else have we got? The Dieno boys in Adelaide, the Solar boys. Their content's wild, especially on TikTok. They do really well with that. There's so many people. New Age, 40 from New Age. He's doing really well recently, doing all his own content and really funny content too, which is good and serious at the same time. So
Yeah,
there's
there's
so
some funny
many.
stuff coming out there, that's for sure. What's the I mean, as someone who's not on TikTok, is that beneficial for your business, or is it more like a networking side of things from
I
your end?
find if I was to start social media again, and if I put as much effort as I did into TikTok as I would Instagram, it would go go crazy. It would go gangbusters. TikTok is the algorithm of TikTok is really good, especially for local people around you. If you're using the hashtags right, the amount of engagement you get from that, especially locally, is wild. Yeah.
And are you looking when you're sort of posting stuff? Are you looking to other people that for the hashtag or for the structure or are you just going like, nah, that's authentically
Yeah.
me, I'm gonna post
So
it?
I'll always include like the industry. So I'll always hashtag tradies or tradie, or I might even chuck in carpenter and plumbing and stuff like that. So everybody in the industry can try and see it. But obviously always tagging rewired, electrical, electrician, power, that sort of stuff. I found when I used to do heaps of hashtags, like I only do probably 7 or 8 hashtags now per post. The less hashtags, the more narrowed down it is, the more engagement you'll get. But that's just me. Everybody's different. Everyone is totally different. I'm no marketing guru also. So this is just how I've got to our
Yeah,
social media to where it is.
this is not marketing advice right
Yeah,
here.
definitely not. Yeah.
And
Disclaimer.
so what advice do you have with for someone starting? I know you don't like giving advice, but like, what's a tip? So someone's starting out the business and they might be a bit insecure on the camera, and until you've recorded yourself face the camera, I don't think you understand what insecurity is. Do you reckon?
Yeah, that's massive.
It's
Getting
so
your face in front of the camera is a whole nother level for social media, that's for sure.
Oh, so and even like a take of yourself when there's no one around, it's amazing what the insecurity can do to you. But what's your tips for someone just wanting to like, oh, do I start? Like, when I start,
Yeah,
what
for
do you
sure.
do?
I always have people saying to me like, um, why, how have you, let me start again. I always have people coming to me like, how do you do this? How do you edit that? How do you make this look good? Like, you don't have to be doing something cool to make something look good. When I first started, even up until this day, I'll put a filter over it and I'll put some music over it and speed it up a bit. When I first started social media, I was literally replacing PowerPoints or not changing light globes, but upgrading a halogen light to a downlight, LED downlight, and just filming yourself, doing a time lapse, and any content is good content as long as you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I've been posting a bit of stuff recently, and then your critical eye goes over it and kind of challenges it sometimes on what my eye does. And then
Of
I
course.
was looking at it going, oh, in if I post daily or bi-daily or 3 times a week, in 3 months' time, this is so far down the grid, who cares? So sometimes
Yeah.
like progression beats perfection. You just got to get moving on something.
Yeah, so one thing I'm interested in with it, Jaden, is obviously like there's the social part of it as well. Is it something that you're just going to continue to do and keep like diving headfirst into and just evolving and adapting with it all and look at it as another string to the business and just go strength to strength as the whatever happens with the business? Because I know we did touch on it last week, like the business has probably already exceeded what your expectations were to begin with, in regards to like number of staff and the type of work that you're doing, that sort of stuff. But yeah, is it just going to go hand in hand with the business? As long as you're in business, it's happening,
Yeah,
basically.
100%. Like I said, I'm super passionate with what I do. I like building the industry or communicating with the whole industry, whether it not be it's always, I always say our social media is a portfolio. If you want to see what sort of work we do, if you want to see the quality of our work, if you want to see our culture, Rewired Electrical GC, here, go look at it. But also, yeah, while I'm in business, Rewired Electrical on Instagram and Facebook will always be a thing. That's for sure. It's like I was saying before, it's organic, it's free. It's the best marketing tool you can have. May as well use it.
Yeah, nice. And then do you find with, we know you've got an admin coming on and like obviously some more techs coming on board to help out with the workload. Is that also to help you get the time to do the things that you want to be doing within the business, whether that be social media, whether it be the BDM work, just bit more focus on the things that you enjoy doing?
It's massive for BDM for myself. Just keep building the business, keep being the face of the business. I obviously to get to where I am today. I was always a people person, so people just love dealing with me. And I still have clients this day ask me, "Are you coming out, or are you going to send somebody?" And I'm just like, unfortunately, I'd love to come out, I'd love to come see you, but I'm stuck here behind these two screens, and I'm just trying to keep the show running.
Yeah, I would love to change over that double PowerPoint to a double PowerPoint.
It's exactly what I want. Yeah, 100%.
Hey, that's actually a huge barrier for some people. And that was your first hire an apprentice?
Yes, correct. Third-year apprentice.
Who was your first hire? Still with you, the apprentice?
No.
Oh, yeah, cool. No, I was going to say that the importance of training apprentices up in that situation is huge, because it's like if you've got an apprentice, the handover from tradie to apprentice or like tradie to tradie is quite actually simple because the client's familiar with that staff member. How did you go about that? I found that season to be quite tricky when everyone's like, "Oh, are you coming out?" Or I found I really had to voice, "Oh, Matt's coming out," or "Luke's coming out. You're in safe hands. They'll be there at this point." How did you find that season? Because being relational, you want to sort of please people naturally, organically, but now you've got to tell them that it's not me, it's someone else.
Yeah, that's super hard. Because like I said, I built my clientele based on myself. Obviously, and my skills I have behind me as well. But yeah, like I've said before, I'm a very people person. People love joining and chatting to me. But yeah, it is very hard. And like I said, till this day, I'm still got people asking me, "Am I coming?" I really want to come, but I just can't. So you've got to be able to teach your apprentices and teach your tradesmen exactly how you work and be as sociable as you are. Obviously, they're going to learn from me, so hopefully they follow in my footsteps to keep that client happy as well.
And how do you maintain that excellence when you're removed? Is it just employing?
Come down to picking and choosing who you're employing, I think. You'll know from day dot whether they're going to be able to be capable of doing what you do, or being close to it, because you can't teach, well, you can teach customer service, you definitely can, but just a people person, you're either a people person or you're not.
Hey, on that there, Jaiden, with the staff, like obviously that sort of, I guess there's a particular fit that you're looking for. Did you learn the hard way or the easy way, or was it a bit of like a combination of, hey, had some negative experiences, or you were pretty, you sort of had nutted it out from the get-go in like onboarding staff to be able to pick up and take it? Because, I think it, requires a certain type of personality and a certain type of person as well to be able to fit within like the sort of culture that you've created. It's not that you're trying to create, you've actually created it within Rewired. Is that sort of, was there a few like ups and downs along the way to nail it? Or did you feel like you had a really clear vision and it's like, nah, this is the box that I need to sort of fit within, and if it doesn't, I'm not going to deviate from that sort of.
I haven't had any really bad experience. I've had feedback from clients saying bits and bobs like, why was Jesse doing this, or why was he doing it that way, or what took him so long? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I haven't. Jesse's just a made up name, by the way. I've never employed Jesse.
Yeah.
What's
But yeah, good.
Cool.
But yeah, I think just it comes down to picking and choosing who you're going to employ. You got to know the right person. That's for sure.
Yeah, cool. So it sounds like you've nutted out that whole process. Like you've got your like you won't have the trial. And I think we touched on it the other day. Were the sort of like checking out some references or having some kind of background check on people as well, like not like a police check sort of thing, although you may need to, but like you're sort of like finding out a little bit more about them before you pull the trigger as such.
Yeah, for sure. Call me old school or not, but I'm always asking. I will always ask for a resume up front. Everyone says, "Oh, I haven't got a resume, or I haven't updated in 5 years." I'm like, "Well, do it. You want a job? Do it." I am super old school with that side of things. And then yeah, the onboarding process with me is an interview, whether it be over the phone, in person. 9 times out of 10 in person. If I'm happy with what I see and what I hear from you, I will definitely get you in for a minimum 3-day trial. That's for sure. If not longer, and then another interview after that before there's a job offer on the plate if you do make it to that stage.
Nice.
my 2 cents for the resume? This is what I feel like you're looking for. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. I feel like you're looking for an element of consistency. Obviously, an apprentice is going to have limited. They worked at Subway for 18 months or something like that, whatever. But if you're looking for a tradie, you're looking for like, do they do their apprenticeship all in the one spot? Have they moved around a lot? Moving around a lot, I'm not going to say it's always a red flag, but most of the time, a lot of times, it can be a red flag. Looking for consistency of like work, sort of, I worked here from 2004 to 2015. That's absolutely paramount in my head. What do you guys look for?
100%. I'm exactly the same. Like you just touched on, Crow, is why did you have 3 jobs in 12 months? That's what I want to know. And like you say, 9 times out of 10, there's a reason for it. Like I said, not always as well, but yeah, it's something definitely to look for. Is why have you had so many jobs in such short amount of time?
And if you call the references, what are you asking?
I actually have a list in my car. I recently called a few references over a couple of people, a couple of different employees. What assets and what attributes did they bring, or what attributes did they have and what did they bring into the company? Did you personally know them? What sort of relationship did you have with them? And just ask what they know about them, really.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I think
You ever not hired anyone on that?
No, I haven't.
Interesting. Sorry, Ken.
interesting.
No.
No. I agree with that. I think with the resume, it's you're looking for the consistency is the key around it all. So consistency with type of work, I think, is also important, because if you've got people bouncing around different sectors of the industry, it may mean that they are unsettled, so that they don't actually know where they want to be. And then there's also a question mark that I have around their skill set potentially as well. These aren't like any givens. And then obviously the continuity of the workflow around it. Like, so how long were they at somewhere before? And I think it's perfectly, and I've done it, like, just hit them up, like, okay, well, what'd you leave there for? Like, sort of thing. So if there is some question marks around it, a lot of it can be, and some people, like, they bounced around in a few jobs, they're gun at what they do. It's just like, the reason I just wanted to get exposure in this part of the industry, this part of the industry, and this part of the industry, and now I've identified that I love this sector. Or like, oh yeah, look, I was really happy there, but they went under, or like everyone, like, part of a few of the people got laid off. So just the resume tells a story around it, and she's got to find out what the story that it's telling. And the other one too I like there that you raised, Jaiden, is like, if you haven't got one, like, well, you're going to need one. To me, that just shows like an eagerness and a keenness. So like, if they can't be bothered putting a resume together, well, then why should you be bothered even looking into potentially hiring them
a job? Exactly right.
Giving an opportunity, because it's a two-way, like, it's a two-way street on it all. And I think what we're all looking for a sort of that sort of A grade, like that sort of real gold standard, gold star sort of player to join our team. And there's little indicators that you can find along the way
100%.
around it. So
What do you, sort of landing a plane, Jaiden? What do you see the future of Rewired?
Mate, I love Rewired where it is right now. I also said that 5 years ago as well. I will never expand and I'll never go to 6 or 7 guys, but hey, here we are. Growing with my clients, not necessarily taking on extra clients, but growing with my clients and keeping my clients happy. They're the whole reason I have a job. They're the whole reason my boys have a job. So yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't have any goals. Like I said, I don't even want to, I'm so appreciative of where I am today. That's for sure. But I just grow as I need to. But yeah, anything bigger than 10 or 12 blokes is going to be quite hard. That's for sure.
Yeah, nice.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I feel that in some ways, everyone should chill and just let the pathway dictate. You know, if you've got your top 3 to 5 clients and they 10x, and you've got to service them, and you can do that in a really sort of quite an easy administration level, it could be a quite organic transition. So I feel like, you know, my advice to everyone is always don't stress about setting goals like 8 to 12 or 20 or 35 plus, or never want to get to, because you never know what kind of clients you're going to get to put you in the hot seat of a bunch of work that might be pretty administration low and pretty easily
Exactly,
caught.
that's right.
Yeah.
And it always comes back to, and Cam could obviously definitely back me up here, is just because you have more staff doesn't mean you're making more money. You're having more stress, you got more overheads, you got more fuck ups as well. Well, you could potentially. So yeah, it's not always, if I'm going to have 40 blokes, I'm going to be making 40 times as much money, because it's definitely not the case.
No,
Yeah, definitely.
And final sort of like, I know you don't like giving advice, but we're just going to put you on the spot. But what? Let's give a couple of tips. Someone starting out, like, what would you tell yourself if you were starting out right now? What do you think's important to know?
I don't know if you're starting out and you're looking for advice, I would always say everybody, I don't know. I'm the worst with this shit, eh?
It's good.
I don't like giving advice.
Is it just like work hard? Like what got you here?
Yeah, exactly. Just be a polite person, be a respectable person, be an approachable person. Because if you're not an approachable person, you're not a respectable person, people aren't gonna want to use you. Yeah, I don't know. That's funny.
And
It's good.
pushing through into that, if someone's on the cusp of like hiring their first apprentice or tradie, what are you saying to them?
Do your due diligence. Do your homework. Look them up on social media. Look them up on Google. Look them up on LinkedIn. Employees usually aren't on LinkedIn, but some of them are. Look them up on social media. See what they're up to on the weekends if they're not private on everything else. But that's a big thing that I always do. As soon as I see a resume, I'm always looking up the person. And then I am doing my due diligence, doing my homework, get them in for a trial, see what they're like. Will they benefit your company? If you're on the fence about it, you're probably not going to be out. They're not going to benefit your company. And can you teach them to be able to benefit your company? But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, are they teachable?
Yeah, are they teachable? That's right. Yep.
Teachable is huge. And yeah, man, I just want to say thanks so much for coming on the pod, and we're huge fans, and we're excited to see where everything takes you. And
thank you, guys.
I'm looking forward to the next time I see everyone's face on camera. So
yeah,
thanks.
I really appreciate it. And thanks for what you guys are doing for the industry as well, because what you guys are doing, without you guys, a lot of people would be screwed.
No,
Thank you. Thanks for kind words, man. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Peace.